Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
good. So we're going to talk about
As promised, we're going to
Innis
talk about Innisfil sales
year end
year
2020
end.
and how it compares year over year to 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We're also going to cover off this is well, there's not well, other than Friday Harbor condos, there's no condos down there anyway. So these are all freehold properties, and we'll kind of go a little bit more in depth with what we've seen in the market this year for prices and where they started off and where they are, throughout the year a bit and chat it up a bit.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
Let's hear it.
year over year, so there's some funny things going on because in some areas compared to Barrie, they're better off, but in other areas they're worse. So, um, sold per month in Barrie it went up 20%
For December.
for December. Innisfil it went down by 14.5%. So year
So
so year over year, they had 709 total sales last year, 656 this year, so down 7.4%.
sales. Let's go back to that first comment. I want to hit that first comment before we go any further. So how much for the month of December, how much in this will go down
14.5%.
compared to last December?
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised at that because we've been seeing a downtrend for sales in that market for several months now.
Well, the thing is that Innisfil is still priced higher on average than Barrie. The average price is higher. And we know that's the price range that is in a tough spot.
Correct. Correct.
So, it is down.
I'm not surprised, right? I'm not surprised whatsoever by that number at all, right? Because we've been seeing that they've got a lot of inventory in that community that's priced well over a million, and it
Well,
and it
and listen to what's really funny. Okay, so you know how in Barrie the average price went down by like 10%? Month over month in it for December 2022 in Innisfil to December 2023.
year over year. Okay,
So it actually last year was 778 was the average sale price per month during December.
and
This
then
year it's 789.
yeah, but again,
Because this is a perfect example why you can't really go after
yeah,
average price.
can't stop looking at it, people. It's not the reality. It's just
Exactly.
what the
So,
market.
but year after year, it was 1,010,000 last year, 912 this year. So the average price actually the year went 9.7% down. But like we said,
You know why? And to the
well, you
viewers,
can't really look at average price because there's so many any variables that add to that average.
it does, and I'm not surprised at the number in Innisfil, but there's a story behind that, right? There's a story why the average price is down in Innisfil. Well, we've been talking for Innisfil about the last 5 months, and we've incorporated them into our video discussions, and we've seen, holy cow, example that one I did a listing appointment on. I said, I'm going to have a hard time listing this at 1,275,000. Okay, and I said, and that was in the summer. I'm going, I don't know. Things are slowing down even more. I don't know. I don't think you're going to get it. Okay. What does the person do? They listed at 1.5. It took 120 days to sell. What do they sell it for? 1.2.
Mm.
That's a sweet spot. I said, you know what? It could end up there in this market. So we've seen some of those people trying those higher prices in that community and months sitting on the market. This is what we're going to get. We need to take this now for whatever reason. So that average price is going to continue to fluctuate a lot more than we see in Barrie, I think. Because
Well, the other thing is, I think that because the higher prices really aren't selling a lot right now, um, their average price still is higher than Barrie,
it would be.
and it is, but they're just slower too. They're
A lot.
having less sales and less at the higher price. The lower ones are still selling a little bit more. Now,
Yeah.
the funny thing is, in Barrie, our inventory is up 44% over last year.
Yeah.
Innisfil, it's only up 18%.
Hmm. But look at look at the size of communities too, right? Totally two different communities in the sense where geographical wise, Barrie's 4 times larger. Yeah. Maybe five times larger, close to five in that range. So that I think that's kind of normal to see, but I just think totally
Like
different
they
community.
only have last year, they at this time they had 168 listings, and this year they only have 205.
Yeah. So Innisfil is going to remain a tough market. I think with the sentiment changes in 2024, with buyers coming back a little bit, feeling more confident in things, sentiment changing in the market, and the buzz around that rates are going to drop, and rates are going to drop. I don't care what anyone says. The economy's got lots of cracks in it. We've talked about this numerous times in the past. GDP for the last 2 quarters, crap. It's not going to be a great print for Q4. It could be flat, but I think it might be a little bit under. So it's not going to be a robust year. So the Feds are going to have to lower rates. I think people holding those properties right now, those 400,000, I mean 400,000, sorry, those 1.4, 1.3, 1.5, and there's a lot of them in Innisfil, might have a better shot, depending this year. Are they going to see growth and a great, we're going to go back to the 1.6 for my property the way it was priced in 2021? No, that ain't happening. We're a little bit ways from that, right?
Yeah, and
So
I don't think, after this COVID and this crazy market and these highs and lows, I think you're gonna see people being a lot more, um, what's the word for it? Hesitant. Like I don't think you're gonna see people, even if there's 10 offers, I don't think you're gonna see something 400,000 or 300,000 over.
that's not happening. That's
Like
not.
people are going to be more careful now, right? Because we have a whole group of people that bought in 2020 who are effed. They
Mhm,
paid, their houses have gone down over 20%,
mhm.
almost 30. In my neighborhood, couple around the corner, so for 1.1. And if they
Yeah,
got 800 now, they'd be fucking lucky.
yeah, I know.
Like,
And
so their mortgage is probably higher.
they want it to value as a property. There's lots of those people around. Yeah.
People that bought in 2020. So I think people are going to be much more hesitant and careful if there is a bit of an uptake. I don't think you're going to see like that craziness from 2020. There's too many people that got burnt and too
They
many
have to
stories
force to
out there.
stay, and they have to stay. They can't list. They'll be underwater unless they're really in financial trouble and they take who knows. But
No, they got
I
to stay now.
pretty much, if you want it, and you got to stay. I don't disagree, and I think that might help with supply. We saw a little increase in supply. In Barrie, we've seen a little bit of increased supply in Innisfil too. Just the sales are soft in that community because of the price points. We know that, but I question if. And I think the general public down there is getting a better idea. I think our videos are getting some eyeballs on them to viewing it because we know that market down there. We're seeing it. We're seeing the days on market. We're seeing what's selling down there. We're going, we just see it happening, and it's just, and then we question, you know, who's listing these properties? What do you, why? Like, why are you?
I lived in Innisfil
Ah,
myself for 25 years, right? Like, and the market there has always been slower than Barrie as far as days on market.
yeah,
Always.
100%. So it's a different game down there, and I hope for those sellers that have properties currently now, or have some tipping them off or thinking about listing. Just the best advice we could give them is that just don't go off what your neighbors have listed for. Look at days on market. It's so important. How does your property compare to the property that sold around the corner 3 weeks ago? Good, bad, get it to that level. You're being judged on that one. Let's see if it's an apple to an apple. You're being judged. But we've talked about this to death in a sense, right? That's my
Well,
thought.
Jessica, I told you I was talking to her this week and she's put a couple offers in Toronto, and a couple of the properties she sent me them and they're in Toronto, and just so you know, most of them on like around the million one, they're multiple offers. There's not 100, but there's one or two. She's
Sure,
fighting for them all.
sure. But that's a
And
low price point down there.
well, that's it. Down there, it's a
Right,
very low price point.
right.
And the thing is that she said, she's telling me, well, the agents, she's trying to tell them, well, this comparable just sold for 975 and this one 1,050,000. Like, how are you asking 1.2?
Mhm,
Because they're going off what's listed, right? And she
mhm.
said, I don't care what something's listed for. Show me what it actually sold for.
Well, that's exactly it. That means nothing. Give me some proof or give me some information. Help me out. Show me a comparable what I'm missing. But
Because of
that does.
course her client is going on House Sigma and
Oh,
she sees all the sales in the neighborhood over the last 2 months.
correct.
And she's like, well, this one sold for this and this one sold for this. How the hell do they think they're going to get that?
I know. That's just great. You know what? And that's a good point that you bring up. There's a lot of people doing that, right? Like the days of calling your realtor and send me over the comparable. I want to know what they sold for. Those phone calls are getting less and less, right?
Mark, they're telling us.
They're telling us what's going on in a sense, right? Where this is
Well,
what's
okay, I'm gonna give you a perfect example, and I really hope the general public or people that watch this understand this. When we're a realtor in the Barrie area, Barrie, Innisfil, Simcoe County area, do we watch every single street?
no, it can't.
Do we know every single comparable in every single area? No. So, but if I live on a certain street, I'm going to know that street.
Oh, 100% you are.
So our
100%.
client watches their area, right? They
100%.
watch their street and their little area. And then
Yep.
they call us
Yep.
and we're supposed to know off the top of our head
Yep.
a value. Well, like we have a huge area to watch.
Yep. Yep.
We don't know every little thing about an area until somebody asks us a question. Then we can do all the research. We can
Yep.
even find out ones that sold off market from Geo Warehouse, so we can find out the prices if it was a private sale. Like we
Correct.
have a lot of things available to us that the general public doesn't.
Correct. Correct.
But off the top of my head, I don't know every single street in the city
No,
what the value should be.
no, you're not gonna, right? And it's not gonna happen. But I like the technology and I like the transparency that the public has that information, has those tools to work with. I think it's great. I think
Well, and
it's
Mark, listen, between you and I, how long does it take us to look? 5 minutes?
not just take long at all.
No. If
No.
someone wants to know, okay, in my area, on my street, what are the sales? What's going on? I
Yep.
could tell you in 5 minutes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
if it's an area now, the other thing is say you went to a listing appointment on Saturday and you did the comparables in that area. So if you call me about an area that I just dived into,
Yep.
or I have a listing at, or I just did an offer on,
Yep.
then I know it.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
But
Great.
if it's something like, I told you I sold that one and it's an SPP.
Mhm.
And an SPP means, for those that don't know, is it's a condition for the seller's property to be, or the buyer's property to be sold. So once it sells, then they firm it up on my end and they bought the house, but their house has to sell first.
Right.
So my client asked me, okay, Diane, do you think this is a reasonable price that they're going to price their house at? Can you send me comparables?
Good
Guess
question.
what? Do you think
What?
I could?
Couldn't find them. Yeah, no. Yeah. And that
Because
happens.
well, it's in the north end. It's up by Cundall's area,
Yep.
but a nice little pocket, a
Yep.
court.
Yep.
Well, nothing sold on the court and like fucking.
Yeah, I know. Low turnover. Yeah.
They're like, I have to go out of the area
Yep.
to find something that would be comparable, and
Right.
there's barely no sales. So how do you
Hard.
do it?
It's hard. What do you think of what's going to happen in Innisfil for the spring market?
I think it's gonna be slow. I think it's gonna start slow.
Yeah.
How
And
about you?
I think the same. I think it's going to start off a little bit slow too, because the price points, I think the feds aren't going to come out, in March and say we're reducing. I think they're going to wait till June. So I think the second half of 2024 could be better for Innisfil, where you'll see some buyers return to the table a bit and say, okay, you know what? Now's the time. Rates are coming down. We're feeling more comfortable about things. Yeah, I do. I think the first of it's going to be slow because they don't have the low price inventory that's in demand in that community. So I think it's those, it's all high price stuff, and I think they're going to continue to sit for a while. And I think the sellers should have a good understanding of that's what it's not going to
Well,
be a spring market down there.
you know what I tend to find in Innisfil, Mark, is that people from Vaughan, Brampton, that side of the city buy in Innisfil.
Correct.
If the market there sucks, we suck. If
Mm.
you see the south end, or sorry, the west end of Toronto start really taking off, like in Peel region, and the Vaughan and the Richmond Hill, even York region, some of them. If you see that start going into bidding war and start going crazy, it's going to trickle down to us,
It will. It will. It will. Yes.
because
We've seen.
those are the people that are coming here to buy.
Correct. And
But
they
right
usually
now,
start
sorry,
out earlier. They start out earlier than we do.
they do. So if you don't see them starting to take off,
Yeah. We're not going to.
nope.
No, no, that's the thing, right? And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And,
And let's be real. Even how many Barrie people can afford houses in Barrie? Not many.
not many. They can't
How
afford.
many Innisfil people that live in Innisfil can afford Innisfil prices?
Not many.
No.
Not many. We know where the market's driven from. In Southern Ontario. That's the market where it's driven from. And, look, when we got in the business in 2010, we were doing, we were serving Innisfil people buying Innisfil, trading out. We were servicing people in Barrie, selling and trading out. That's been on such a decline, like rapid descent for many years now. We
Many
hardly
years.
do any business. If we do have clients, you know what, some of them are selling, moving further north, some are out of the province, some are trading up or maybe, a little quieter, but it's just so rare, right? It's just so rare. And that Toronto agent and that Toronto buyer, usually uses an agent down there, which to me, I don't think makes any sense, and I don't want to get into it, but I just don't. I think you need to use local.
Well,
That.
I only go crazy with it with the guys. Like I've had some Toronto agents that actually do their homework and they bring you an offer and they understand the areas and the different builders. And actually I was even talking to one of the appraisers. He was appraising one in Innisfil that was a new build that they had to close on, that they paid 1.3 for 2 years ago.
Woo! Ouch.
And the same properties are selling at 1 million or 1.1. Same ones. He's showing me the comparables. He's like, I don't know how I can get to 1.3. Like I can't.
Yeah, can't do it.
No. And I was looking at the properties and all the comparables and everything that he showed me. And I said to him, well, you realize these two that you've pulled as a comparable are the Bradley homes, which are way shittier than the country homes and the San Diego.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
He doesn't even know that.
No. No. No.
So I said, like, you realize it's a whole different kind of build. He goes, well, I went in the house and the floors are squeaky, brand new.
Oh yeah.
And
For sure.
the railing was kind of shaky. And I was thinking, I said, well, I'll tell you right now, that's not a country home or a San Diego.
No. No.
It's not. It's a Bradley.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their value's lower.
Yeah.
But does a Toronto person know that?
No, not at all. They just walk in. Great. We like this. Great. We like the neighborhood. Let's go.
Mark, on Hunter, when I lived on Hunter, when you went down Webster,
Yep.
on the east side of Hunter was country homes. And on the west side of Hunter was Bradley.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a difference.
Oh,
There's a difference.
there's a
Huge difference.
huge difference.
Yep.
Even on the outside finishings, they tried to kind of mock the
Yeah.
same outside, but it's
It's not. I
Mark,
know.
it's not the same, man.
It's not. So I agree. And, but you know, back to that point too, I had a friend of mine send me a text going, "Hey, do you do Collingwood?" Not really, but I can, kind of not really navigate, but I can kind of, if you ask me to pull some up, I can pull it up. I said, well, question mark, why? Oh, I got a friend that, wants to sell down there and sell that. You know what I said to her? She needs to get a local agent. You need to get a local agent to sell it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't. Call me stupid, but how can I service a market that I'm not familiar? Yeah, I drive there all the time to go skiing. I know the market,
But
but I don't
you
know.
can, you know
I don't
what,
know.
Mark, I find for selling, I find it harder as a buyer to get out of my zone than a seller because all of the information's at our fingertips. I can see what the neighborhood sold for. I can see what,
How we can do. That's easy parts to do.
yeah.
I'm just not comfortable. I don't know what's going on in the community or that neighborhood. Yeah, I can pull anything up you want to know about the neighborhood and this and so anybody could do that. But that's just me. I'm a big believer. And if I don't know the community, then how can I serve a client? That's just me. Uh,
Well, I've done it. I've sold in flipping north of Huntsville. I've sold in freaking Whitby.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you have a cookie cutter house and they're all the same in a subdivision, it's pretty flippin' easy.
Yeah. And I didn't really know much about and there's a ton of product down there right now. And I don't know. It's just, I think people should get the best representation in a market where I see it flooded with inventory right now. Like they need
Well, you
to,
know what, Mark? This is the difference. You call a local agent who's an asshole, or you take Diane, who you already trusted.
well, for sure. Like something like if you
That's
have a past rapport with someone that wants to buy in a different community, I find it easier to buy in a different community than I do to list, depending. Because I can always get in. I always got colleagues and you've done certain things. Gary's done certain things. Hey, what about this, Sarah? I got those are on the
yeah.
fingertips, but selling it to me is a little different. But anyway,
Well, no, everyone that I've done out of area is
yep.
a past client.
Right, right,
It's
right.
not somebody calling me out of the blue
Right, right,
from Whitby and saying, Diane, sell my house.
right. That's right. No, no, I get it.
No, every one of them has been somebody I either bought with
Yep,
or I did another deal with them somewhere
yep.
and they trust me. So, because sometimes if you're going out in the world, say you have an investment property and you don't live in the area either, and you don't know a realtor,
No, 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 I know. I get it.
you're taking a big risk just calling somebody out of a phone book kind of thing. You don't know who they are.
No, no, I agree. Those past relationships mean a lot, right? And you've built up trust over the years with these people and they trust you. I think we're done with Innisfil. I think we've chatted Innisfil to death. I think we have a
We
good,
have
not much has changed.
inventory up 18%, prices down, sales over the whole year down 7.4%,
Isn't
and the
that bad?
average price over the year down 9.7.
Yeah. Just don't read too much over the price, but you know what? Not bad considering with the amount of inventories down there for sales. Not bad.
It's
So
not horrible. And
horrible.
considering, a couple of the realtors at the office today said, oh, I hope 2024 is way better than 2023. And I
Yes.
said, why? And there was two of them there that said they had their worst year ever.
Yeah. Some people had some really good years. Some people had some average. Some had their best. Okay. It's all the because we all get fed by our database by our past clients and
But if
referrals.
overall sales are down, everybody's down.
100%. 100%. It's easy. Okay. Have a good night.
Okay,
Ciao.
bye.